The first thing that I want to do is draw the major lines that I see in the picture. So the first one is that the ground here, and I don't want to end it at the corner the way the picture is. I want to end it a bit higher, so maybe up here. And the angle is, let me see, that angle right there. So that I was right. I was on the right track. So this is the front here. There's a bench over here, and we'll add it and add a bit of shadow under it to link it to the edge. And then I've got a mass that comes down this way. And then pretty steep lines. Let me see the depth. Is it this steep or that deep? Let me see. It's about this deep here. Yeah, so like everything else, I'm going to, I don't want parallel lines. So once I do this one here, I'm going to find another angle for the others. So this one is a bit light and this one is a bit this way. Okay? I don't want them the same angle. I want them to sort of fan out from an imaginary position. Excuse me. I really don't need anything else in the details yet. What I need to do is to wet this paper and begin working on it so that we can achieve the results that we want. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab a big brush and wet this whole thing. Oh man, I shouldn't have done that. I needed to remove the pencil marks first. So let me dry it and remove the pencil marks first, and then wet it again. So remove the lines. Now let's go ahead and wet it again completely. So I'm just taking pure water and wetting the whole surface. I want it pretty wet so that the color, when I lay the color down, it spreads. So and again, what I'm doing right now is not the full painting. What I'm doing right now is just throwing colors that will be the base on which we paint. So start with that, and first color that I want is that orange. So let's get that orange in place. It starts somewhere here and spreads out from this spot. And you can see how wet it is, right? So I'm really using very wet paint, very wet paper, and just letting the colors bleed. Now I need to, along with this orange here, I need to start adding the other colors in as well. And the other colors is mostly, I just want to use violet right now for this area here. Again, just dropping color in and watching it bleed. It's harder when you have more than one color. When it's only one color, it's really easy to bleed one color. Once you have more, then you have to keep an eye on what this one is doing while you're working on this one. So it's a bit harder. But the good thing is, the more color you add, the more water you're adding too with the color. So it just helps keep the paper wet while the effect is taking place, taking shape. And if you need to, you can always wash your brush and add more water, like this. This is all very, very wet right now. So, okay, I want to make sure I still have some area of light. Following this line here. I see a couple of streaks that were just straight lines that I didn't like, so I cut them down. Okay, and then we're going to also get, unfortunately, we're going to get this sort of spillage here, and that's going into an area that's supposed to be just white. So I'm just going to lift that with a Kleenex like this, and that'll also help avoid more spillage because it dries the paper here, so that won't happen anymore. Okay, a bit of turn like this. Starting to dry, so I need to make sure that the effect is in place. There's a bit of dark here. I need to add. I'm spending a bit of time on this because once we do this, it just makes it so much easier to do the rest. And this is a place where if we wanted to just score the paper to achieve the lighter color of the branches, we could do it now, but it's not the best, it's not the most ideal time to work it now, so I'm not going to do that. But I just wanted to point it out there, you know, if your technique is to score the paper early, then you should do it now, but we won't. Something like this, and just turn it around a bit, let it float. I'm going to stop doing anything on this side because it's getting dry, so I'll leave that be. Let's let it be a bit, and then we'll work some more on this. Let me remove this. I want this part to be as pristine as possible down here. Okay, I'll just let this rest upside down for a bit. What we have to do with this is very subtly move from the back forward, and as we do that, we build up more and more color depth and value. So we need something really light in the back. So I'm still going to use the violet. I don't think I'm going to use the blue. I know I mentioned the blue, but I think the violet alone is going to be enough with the orange to achieve the results that I want. So making it very light as a combination. Let me take that piece of paper as a test. Yeah, very, very light like this. And going from back here, I can see my line. So let me use it. I'm just going to go ahead and create a few trees back there. Clean my brush, empty it out, and just spread that color so it disappears like this. Okay? That's all we need to do, is very, very light, and then make it disappear into the painting like that. That's the first one. Now I need a second.
Sorry, sir. That is over dry paper.
Yes, if it is over dry paint. Okay? Okay. So it's over dry paint like that, right there. Okay. I'm going to do another layer, but I need to make sure that I have the right value. That's the key at this stage is the value. So you want to make sure that you see that is too big a jump from this to this is too big a jump. So I have to dilute that a bit more. That's too little. So add a bit of color, and I think this is the right combination right there for the next one. Let's see. I'll just do I don't need too much, I just need a bit. Actually, I need a bit more color in here. That was too light. So this is better. And again, clean my brush, empty it out, come in and spread all of this out. Make it disappear like this, okay? You can see the progression, we're moving forward. We can even do another one back here. If I really go very, very light, I can do that. Let me try. Go really light, extremely light, and do maybe another layer there. Barely showing. Like that. And again, spread it. When you spread it, it takes away a lot of that color and makes it more. Look at that. Nice transitions, right? We need one more transition in here, closer to us. Let me just lift a bit so you can see it all. And I'll go ahead and pick up some of that violet and a bit of water to dilute it. And in here we're going to do a bit more detail, so I want to make sure that I get this tree right over there. Do a few like that. This is just the edge. We're going to do more on the inside, but for now I want to do the same thing. I want to go back and spread this out here. Like that. And now while it's spread out, I can continue to work in here and just add passages of color underneath. Because there's rocks and stuff like that that are getting no snow on them. so they're darker. And again, using water to spread so that there's that effect or that feeling of the mist in place. So hard edge, soft edge, hard edge, soft edge. It's very important to have these. Now, I don't need any more here because ultimately in this section we're going to get the front trees in play. So we'll be painting those instead, which are really good. And on this side, it's all positive painting. So we'll let that happen. Let me just spread this out a bit more and take a combination of orange and that violet together and spread it down here. A bit more orange. I want a nice depth here. Water. Using the water to anchor it so it doesn't feel like it's a blob sitting on top. When you use water to spread it, it anchors it in place. Okay, and over here it's just going to be darker later, so I'm not worried about it. More water. And we're good. So all we did right now is this area here. Okay, everything else is still in play. This area here, though, 1, 2, 3, 4, is finished, more or less. I would never say finished. I'm not. Peter, don't. Yeah, okay, so I'll leave it at that, and you can catch up. So the next step is I want to work on this side here. I want to be able to build all the darks here. I'm not going to worry about the lights yet. Forget the lights for a second. We're just going to worry about creating the darks. The edges first, of course. We need nice trees here. This edge on its own is very ugly, but once we layer trees over it, it'll be very nice. And then really darks down here. We'll try to get as dark as possible as we do that. So first things first, though, let's work on the edges. And I'm just going to bring my violets all the way up here so that I can work straight from it. Pretty dark. No mincing words here, no mincing color at all. We're going to begin working with the very dark colors, straight up.
Is that just as pure violet? Or?
Yeah, that's pure violet. The violet that I'm using, which is a combination of ultramarine blue and iron oxide. It's a really nice combination. Makes for beautiful violet, very earthy violet. And right now, it's the edge that I care about. Inside here, we're going to work on it later. So let's just make sure that we have nice look to this edge with the trees coming out. And make sure that they're not all at the same level all the time. It's not straight line coming down. Make some higher, make some lower, and definitely not even distance, right? No repetition. Try as much as possible to avoid anything that feels mechanical in painting. There's a nice tree here. I just want to make sure that I capture this one big one. Maybe put it right there. like that, and then a few more as we come down here. There's a rock face here like this, so we can do that as well. We don't have to always have trees all the way down. More rocks, and then a bit of trees as well, all the way down there. Okay, so that. Now I'm going to change brushes, still using one of my specialty ones, but what I want to do now is just blend this edge with those trees, just blending and bringing down the color. I might have to go in this. What I did, the color that I used is a bit stronger, so I'm going to go ahead and maybe double layer here. That's nice, actually. A second layer in that's darker. And from here I can begin to build up the color. I can't really do a wash because this is very dark and very heavy, but I can try to achieve uniformity by moving in a systematic way down with as wet a color as I can get while keeping it very dark like this. So I still have, I have a sort of a bead happening, which is really nice, because that helps me have a really good solid look to this area, which I need. I don't want that patchiness. Always do a wash if you can when you're doing passages like this. It's so much nicer. Okay, all the way down here. This side is done for now. It's not by any means done, but it's done for now, so we'll just let it be. But I don't like how fast this line is, so I'm going to break it up a bit. Fast meaning it's very straight. I don't like straight lines in nature. So let's break it up like that. Okay. Oh, you can't see that. Okay, I broke it up. It was a straight line down here, so I broke it up a bit and made it into less straight. And then now I want to go ahead and continue the darks up to this area here. So same situation. I'm going to bring in really dark color and start up here. Ooh, very wet. I'll have to come back and do the trees in a second when I have less paint in my brush. I don't want to reduce the paint, I need it, so I'm just placing it. And now that I have less in my brush, I can go in with the tip of the brush and add my trees on this side. And then the bead here waiting for me, thank you, is really good. So we're going to take all of this and bring it down. Again, I want to avoid a straight line here, so I'm doing this. And then a few more trees here, so. This area that I'm painting right now, in the picture itself, it's a bit higher, but I want it low because for two reasons. First, I want more of that orange to show, so I don't want to hide it. And the second reason is if I make it lower, it feels like there's a valley, like we're going down into the valley here. And I wouldn't mind that at all. I like that idea, so we'll leave it there. I don't think I want to mess with this anymore. I think we're done here. So we'll just let it dry, and we'll come back. Let me just lift so you can see the whole thing as it dries. You can see here it's still drying, but once it dries, it's going to be a very uniform color, which is exactly what I want. Same thing over here. Still working from back to front. I'm just looking at this section, which is really most of the painting is up here, right? Most of the painting is this area right there, or the beautiful part of it at least. So let me see. Let's look a bit more at that. Forget about this part for now. Here, I'll just put a piece of paper there like that, and just look at this and see, is there anything else that we need to do? I think those trees that are closer to us, those on this side and that side, they can use a bit more definition, and I think they'll benefit if we get more definition in them, and get them to look a bit more interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and pick up some color, really dark, of course, as usual, and reduce, and then come here. I just feel those trees were a bit too rushed, and I was rushing. I'll admit that. So we can go back and make them a bit more interesting this way. Sometimes when you start doing something like this, just make sure that you are on a straight line with the edges of the painting. Otherwise, everything will look skewed, and we don't want that. And just a few more detailed trees. I think that'll look much nicer than just a line like that, because they are closer, so we should be able to see more of them. And this will dry the same as the other. I'm not worried about that. A few more down here. Yeah, I think this is better. This is nicer. Yeah, I like this. It's still very wet, so obviously the colors are off. But once they dry, they're going to be exactly the same colors. You'll see. Um, there, much better. Using my finger, I'm adding a few trees back here, and then using my finger just to reduce the value and the intensity of the color. There. Just creates a bit more interest. Maybe an edge here, maybe like a rock edge as well, like that. I need a bit of water on this brush. Do we need an edge here? Okay. And trying to find any area here that needs help and making sure it's well done. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a sort of a fifth in here that is unstated, but we'll put it, we'll make it magnify a bit more so it feels that it is a separate one. Hill. Okay. Yeah, I like this better now. If I look at this area here now, it has much more interest, much more design to it,
Beautiful.
and just feels better. Okay. Now we still have to work on the big parts here. We're going to use a lot of different ways to achieve results here. Okay. Let's leave this area all away and let's work down here. Okay, let's work on the snow and the bench, which we covered a bit, but that's okay. Get another brush. There's some brushes that you can control and others that are just very hard to control and you shouldn't try. So going back to regular brushes is the right way to go here, because I want to be able to have much more control. And I see the bench here, and I know that only part of the bench is dark. So I'm doing the dark part of the bench like this. And then the legs. like that, and then let's go ahead and link that to the edge of the painting like this with a shadow. Okay, now above the violet dark, there's a bit of a shadow as well, like a half shadow, and we'll put that in like that. And then there's the top, and I have to clear a bit for it. I'll figure out a way to show it. I know it was supposed to be against the darks, but it didn't go there. So we'll figure out another way to do this. And then I need a lot of shadow here. There's a tree that is going to come here. So I'll put a lot of shadows there, like that. And actually this will help right there, like that. If I do this, it'll delineate the top. The top here. Again, more shadows, more combinations around this. And then in here, I want to start taking these on a diagonal. So just creating foot marks and bumps in the snow, but on a diagonal that is predetermined and not parallel. And I'm just going to reduce them all like that. Okay, let me just bring it down so you can see what I'm doing. So really just adding and subtracting. Okay, and as I do that, hopefully we're starting to see interesting shapes in here. As you come closer to the viewer, your lines can become bigger like this, okay? You don't have to have smaller lines now. But back here, it's nice to have the smaller lines. And I need a combination of, I need some shadows down here as well. There's a lot of trees here that we're going to put, and those need their shadows. Okay. I think that's okay for now. Again, I don't want it to become an emphasis, and I don't want it to become too busy. If it becomes too busy down there, it just takes away from the overall picture. So try not to make it too busy. I actually did. I added too much, so try not to make it as busy as mine. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to take some orange I haven't used orange since the beginning of the picture. I need some highlight somewhere. So I'm just going to touch the top of this bench where the snow lies with a bit of orange like that. And of course, I'm going to spread it so it doesn't stay as a line. So hard line, soft line, right? Hard edge, soft edge. Always, always, always make sure that you have a combination of these two. And nice spread there. I don't mind it at all. So zeroing in so you can see it. Creates a nice effect as well. And in a way, what it does is it separates the bench for me, right? Which is something that I was trying to do. So it separates the bench from the back. Now that I have a bit of orange in my brush, I feel I want to do more with it. So let me just take that and layer a few highlights here and there. It won't show. It would barely show, but it will give a glow or a sense of glow on the snow. This won't look much. Okay. Back to the top. Let's revisit the whole picture. Whoops. Yeah, I'm liking where it's going. So the areas that I've painted already are not bad at all. This area up here is really good. It's working very well. This area down here is not too bad either. These two are problematic now, and we have to work on them. So what do we see here? We see a bit of mist happening. So we can do that. We can actually go in and do negative painting now. This color, because it's ultramarine blue and iron oxide, it's what I would call liftable. In other words, you can easily remove it compared to other colors that are more staining. This one is not staining at all. It's very easy to lift. So I can do that, and I'm thinking maybe that's what I need to do here. So let's try something. Let's try something and see what happens. It's always, anytime we're working in class, we're not working on a masterpiece. We can always learn by experimenting, right? So if I go in and I do a shape like this with my brush, just barely touching the skin of the painting and just lifting. Yeah, see, I can lift easily now. And I was thinking I could do some negative shapes and then come back in and add something more interesting after. So let's see what we can do. We got a nice tree here. Let's go ahead and create this tree in water. Just water, right? This is all I'm using is just water right now. So adding it in water and lifting. Water, lifting, okay? Not too much. I don't want it to become the white of the paper, but I want it to change value just a bit, and it's working really well. So just down to here and lift like that, and you can see the tree now. It's very clearly there, right? And I want more of that fog feeling up there, so let's do that some more. There. And maybe up here a bit. Combine them. There, that's good. Down. And let it just dissipate. That's good. Okay, so lifting, adding, lifting. I got to do the same thing over here. Now there's a tree that's sort of here, but I want to move it over there. I want to make sure I use that dark space there and not leave it empty like that. So I'm just going to create a couple of trees here actually in water and lift. And you'll see a difference in color. That's just because the place is wet. Once it dries, the colors will recombine to become the same. But let's do an edge as well here. I see an edge there, like this. Okay. This one is more patchy, but that's okay. More here. This tree here, we're going to do it a bit differently, but still I want to give it a bit of a try here as well. So just do a very large lift like that, just to indicate where it is. See, I can do it all with the brush by lifting like that. I was going to use the cutter, but if I can do it with a brush and lift, it's so much nicer actually, because it doesn't take me back to the white of the paper. It takes me to a combined lighter color that still holds the color of the light in the painting. What do you guys think?
Pretty nice.
I'm using different directions on my brush when I do this, so it doesn't look repetitive.
Mine's not lifting.
What combination colors did you use?
I used an actual violet.
Okay, the dioxazine. Yeah, that might not lift as easily. So in your case, and I'll do that as well here, so that we can all achieve result. I'm just going to do a bit more with just the brush, and then I'll use the cutter as a different technique to achieve similar result if your color is not lifting. Okay, so I can leave it at that. It's almost there, like that tree really looks pretty good there. Just gonna do another one up there, separate and further out, so not as much lifting. Now, if we can't lift, then what we need to do is use the X-Acto knife. And I have a couple of these. I have this one here, which is the normal one that you can always get. This one is a bit more interesting. It's made for, you know, cutting edges and circles and things like that. So a bit more detailed that way. Where's my camera? Here it is. Okay, so into this, just make sure that it's dry. Into this, let's go ahead and use the cutter and just go against the grain. So you're not cutting in, you're flat, like the cutter is being used like this, not like that, okay?
Gotcha.
And just there's a tendency to do this. I see a lot of people do this. They'll do a line and then they'll go from the line and do this, and then again from the line do that, and you end up with a very pretty kind of looking, and usually it's curved. Everything is curved like this. Please don't do that. That's very decorative. It's not artistic. It's decorative instead. Instead, just keep your lines straight, and as much as possible, you don't have to create a whole shape to a branch with its side branches and things like that. You don't have to do that. Just do the lines as if you're doing cat whiskers. Down here there's a lot more stuff happening, and I might use sandpaper down there to create that effect. But up here, let's go ahead and use this process a bit more.
Actually, the combination of
yeah, right. I was just saying.
very well.
I was just going to say that the combination actually works very nicely. So maybe we just stumbled on that. Go ahead and use your kneaded eraser to lift the dust that settles in the holes. Okay, now down here I need something that is more global, and I don't want to do a million scratches. So I'm going to go ahead and use sandpaper, a piece of sandpaper, and begin by sanding very lightly at first, and just like that, the shape, right? That's exactly what I needed. You see that? You can use the sandpaper on an edge. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I like the sanding, so maybe I'm gonna triple combination. that tree just popped out of the dark, and many people will tell you you can't paint light over dark in watercolors. We just proved them wrong. One more here, and this one maybe not, maybe we just use the sandpaper this time. This feels a bit wetter back here. Okay, a couple of more things since we're doing lifting. I want a bit of a highlight over this bench. The bench itself can be a bit darker. It's a bit too light. So let's go ahead and make it a bit darker. I don't want the bottom of it to be a straight line, so I'm using my finger to pull the color down and create sort of a mixed edge down here. There, I think that's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, this feels much better. This feels much, much better. Maybe leave it darker like this for the shadows. Okay. Now, I actually am not going to use a figure in this painting. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Just because I want to give Peter a hard time and keep him guessing. I'm going to leave it there. I think this is a very good ending to it.